What's up guys, Mythic Smith here, and recently we just got huge news in the Minecraft modding community. Just 2 days ago, Ice and Fire was announced, and Alex released a 13-minute and 22-second long trailer, which is just a massive trailer. And today I'm going to break down the entire trailer, as well as reveal everything else that I've learned about the upcoming mod, from Discord and Reddit and things like that. So before we get into this trailer, I want to show that just a few days before he posted the trailer, he posted a teaser on Reddit. Here it says, the reveal of our latest mod, Magic Dweller, Magic returns to the world October 1st. Now, this is just a code name. Magic Dweller is not the name. We now know that it's Ice and Fire. The quality's low, so bear with me. This is the structure that we see in the trailer. I'm almost positive. You can actually see that that is a face up on the wall. And I think this is a dwarven structure. I believe dwarves are coming to Ice and Fire. So he walks over, and if that's indicative of the treasure inside, that's pretty good, because that is a diamond block. And anyway, we see the new scroll item. So it's basically a teaser for a reveal trailer, and now we can watch the reveal trailer. So my first question is whether or not this was all built by hand or whether or not this generated in naturally. I see reasons to believe both. This wheat field, for example, seems to contort to the landscape, which makes me think it's handmade, but I'm not positive. Here we see a new gate block. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it appears to be functional, so that's very interesting. And then here we have some kind of new fence block. It is not in the original version, I checked. They'd certainly be using that in graveyards, but they don't, because it's not in the game yet. And this kind of thing makes me think that maybe it did generate in, because look at this cobblestone and this like random torch that's kind of off. It looks kind of weird. It looks more like it was generated than actually hand built, but I'm not sure. Okay, so first I want to point out this weird structure back here. I don't know what that is. It might be a ruined nether portal. That might be what the purple is. I'm not really sure. Those are a bunch of nether blocks. Again, I don't know if it was generated or if it was hand-built, but I thought I'd point it out once. You'll see it a few times in the video. Another thing is this tower here, I believe is probably generated because I think it's like a new villager structure, and you'll see why in a minute. Another thing is these back here. These are platforms that I think are just made for you to land a dragon on, so that makes me think they're probably hand-built. We have a wizard villager here. Now, why is he sitting on a step? Does that mean all the villagers can sit on stairs now? It's a bit odd. Anyway, we see 3 tapestries. I believe that's a mushroom, a frog, and then this is some kind of, maybe a faction. The amethyst makes me think that you can sell amethyst to this guy. There's probably some kind of loot back there. And then I think this thing in front of him, this cool looking block, is probably a workstation that turns villagers into wizards. Next up we have these more tapestries. If that one was a faction, maybe this is another faction. I'm not sure. I believe that's a horse and a creeper, but I don't really know what that means. And then my best guess for this is that it's a scorpion. I really don't know. That does look cool. Here are our 4 protagonists. Okay, so there's a few things to notice. Number one, this guy in the bottom right, I'm gonna call him the Rogue. He doesn't really wear armor through this whole trailer. That might be hinting at something. I could be reading too into it, but maybe they're going to make it so that an unarmored playstyle is viable somehow. Kind of like there's different classes, and he's like a rogue. Anyway, the sword that he's holding, it looks like a stone sword, but it's missing a pixel. So I kind of think it's a different weapon. And then if you look at the other weapons in the room, none of them look vanilla. That doesn't look like a vanilla gold sword. That doesn't look like an iron sword. Neither does that. The armor is very different. I don't know if it's silver armor or iron armor. I don't know if that's gold or bronze or what. But you'll notice that these armors are exactly the same except for the color of the cloth parts. So maybe it seems to me that you can probably dye them. We also have a new tapestry that's like an up arrow. My speculation, this is very speculative, maybe it points up when you're like in a tower or something, and it points you towards like the boss. Just a theory. And then finally we have a cat with a wizard hat. I have no idea what that means. That's very strange to me. This doesn't seem like the kind of mod where you could put accessories on pets. But who knows? Maybe the cat actually practices magic. Okay, this definitely means something, but I have no idea what it is. Some kind of dark fortress. I don't know what the white is. I can't tell if it's snow on a mountain or if it's like a ghast and we're in the nether. I have no idea. Over on the far left, though, we have a like a purple gemstone, I believe, on a tapestry. So I think that's used to trade for the wizard. That's my guess. Like I said, it actually works. If you look, the gate actually goes up through the windows of the structure. If you look over here, the horse armor actually matches the armor of the riders, which I think is really cool. So they're really leaning into the medieval theme if they're even adding like horse armor to the game. Oh, and custom shields. Can't forget the custom shields. These are not the vanilla shields. This is worth noting. The textures have changed. At least this texture has changed. The texture of the gold has changed drastically. Also, instead of the dragon nest being like a disc, it actually contorts to the land, which makes it look way better. Pretty self-explanatory. Look at that. Look at how his stomach glows when he fires. I've noticed every time dragons roar, the screen always gets blurry, so I think it's an actual mechanic. Killed that guy with his tail. And then this is new. I do not think they could do that before. Just pick you up and drop you. Makes sense though. Now that guy's dead. Now this they could do, I think. Okay, so it drops XP. Now, they weren't right... Well, maybe they were right-clicking on it, but it seemed to turn straight into bones. And then this guy has a glass bottle out, so he's trying to get blood from it. Usually, well, in the current version, when you get blood, you have to do it when there's still, flesh on it. But this doesn't seem to stop them. You can see he actually has dragon blood in his hands, so he got some, and then he seems to be holding dragon bones. Wanted to point this out. To me, it looks like these two armors on the armor stands have a different tint to them, like a bluish tint, versus what this guy's wearing. which makes me think that it's actually a different metal. It's a pretty cool looking skull. We have some more tapestries. And then it looks like this guy's using the skull and trading it with this guy for a map. I'm thinking you have to give a lower tier skull and you have to give some of these gems away. And you see he has like a blue gem, which makes me think it's, used for trading. He uses stuff other than emeralds. So my guess is he uses both the blue and the purple gems. And then the map shows you where a stage 5 dragon is. This stuff, I'm pretty sure, is from the nest. All of this stuff on the sides, not all of it, but some of these blocks. Which is really cool, because it kind of seems that you can find these stage 5 dragons just through caving now. Also, this guy's wearing dragon scale armor. This is really cool. Look how big that treasure pile is. It's absolutely massive. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but that's a gold dragon, so maybe they have different types of layers. It's just a thought. Also, you can see all the caves that connect seamlessly into the layer. I think this is much better generation than the original version. Okay, so opening a chest still wakes up the dragon. And then over here, I believe this is the new Dragonbone sword. I can't think of what else it would be. I love the model. New wing attack. Some of these arrows get deflected, which is pretty cool. I should have pointed that out in the first fight. So they kill it. Look how many arrows are in it. They definitely cut out a huge portion of the fight. So he breaks one of these treasure piles and a diamond comes out. That's really cool. So I'm guessing you can get diamond, lapis, emerald, and redstone from these. And then this is really cool. So the eggs are actually buried under the treasure pile now. That's a lot more realistic. And you get more eggs now, which is pretty cool. I wonder if you always get 4. I also wonder if you have to carry them like this and you can't use like a weapon or anything. Or if this is more visual. Over here we get a look at the spawn mechanics. See how the gold egg is surrounded by gold, while everything else is surrounded by these other types of blocks? And then he has a flint and steel, he just lit them on fire. And then if you look, that one's already done. And then when the fire goes out, they're, ready to hatch. And if you look, they're brand new models. They're completely unique to the parents. They've got these big googly eyes. They're really cute. Listen to these sound effects. So he right-clicks the guy with the scroll, the dragon with the scroll, and then he reads the scroll. And then he picks up the dragon. So I think that's significant. I don't know if he assigned it to himself or gave it a command, but he did something. So now we get a time lapse of its growth. It grows to stage 2 in the first day, and then it takes 5 more days for it to get to stage 3. we go. It's got a really cool takeoff animation. All the animations are so well done. I'll point some of them out. The flying animation also looks great. Here, I don't know if he was commanded to, or if they're actually dangerous around livestock, but he kills a pig. Look at his wing. That wing goes into the divot, while this wing is up there on the higher elevation. It's so well done. Finally, he eats the pig. I'm guessing at this stage, you can't give them pork chops and steak anymore. I think at this point you have to feed them entire cows and pigs and chickens, etc. So the dragons are over here. And by the way, look at this. So he's got his baby dragon with him still, which is interesting. It hasn't grown, which I believe indicates that he's using the sickly dragon meal. In the first mod it was called. And it basically stops the growth stage, so I believe that that's essentially confirmed. Then we have these weapons here. I'm assuming this is just the enchanted version of that these are both the fire dragon, fire bone, I forget what it's called. But you infuse a dragon bone sword with the blood, and then it basically has permanent fire aspect. And then he's got a dragon horn. And this is new. His dragon actually flies over to him from an unloaded chunk. That's so cool. And he seems really effective at fighting the enemies too. I've got to pause it at the right moment. So that is a new shield. It looks like a shield made out of the dragon scales, which is pretty cool. You can barely see it, but it's right there. Look how effective he is at taking out groups of enemies. Again, these platforms look like they were built just for dragons to land on, making me think they were hand-built. And yeah, that dragon still has not grown. And that is a new structure. So I believe, I'm gonna guess it's dwarves. You'll see why in a second. I believe this is also the structure we saw in the teaser that I showed at the beginning of the video. Okay, so there are candles, but they're unlit, and there are cobwebs. So they're indicating that this area is abandoned. Remember that. And then this you could probably do a whole game theory episode out of, but essentially there appears to be maybe some kind of new enemy or boss, or maybe that's just trolls. And again, I think this indicates like dwarves or something. I have no idea what this is, but it's got to be something. Kind of looks like a sword hilt, but like a huge one. Or maybe it's a structure. Also, I wonder if we'll get like a dwarven hammer. That'd be pretty cool. And that is the most obvious reference to Smaug I've ever seen in my life. That is a gigantic dragon in what appears to be like dwarven ruins on a massive pile of treasure. Also really, I think, kind of confirms my theory that this is a dwarven place. And even more interestingly, on the other side, those candles are lit. Which makes me think, what if there are people living on the other side, and the idea is that the section we already were in was abandoned only because of this dragon, but there are still people living further in the structure. Then we have our rogue. Notice he's only wearing boots. I think that might actually be significant. So he actually manages to mine out all of this gold without the dragon waking up. And if you look, there are particle effects coming off of him. And I wonder, what kind of particle effects could that be? And I'm thinking he might have some kind of stealth mechanic, and it might have something to do with him wearing boots. And maybe with him wearing just boots. But the dragon doesn't seem to wake up until he starts messing with the eggs. Now, it doesn't look like he has the egg. But he runs away. And when he turns, now he has the egg. I don't know if that was done for the trailer, or if that was, maybe you can just have the egg in your inventory, and you only are seen holding it if you put it in your slot. This is really cool. See how many ballistas there are? And when he gets hit with a ballista, he falls. It's like Dragon Rend. It's really cool. And you can actually see it in his foot for the rest of the fight. After this, I think they intentionally miss for the sake of the trailer. They just let the dragon destroy everything. If you look over here, you see what I believe are new charred blocks. Looks like charred polished stone, charred stone brick, which is pretty cool. You can actually make a build out of that. Here he starts attacking some villagers. Iron Golem tries to attack him, but he never gets in range. Okay, I gotta pause this just right. He actually has a name. He is Bartholomew the Terrible II. Now, obviously, I mean, he's a boss, it makes sense. He was in a unique structure. He was in a huge pile of treasure. So it kind of makes sense for him to be named. This is purely speculation on my part, but since he's the second, could that mean that he's the second iteration of this boss? You can respawn the Ender Dragon and you can respawn a Wither. Why couldn't you respawn Bartholomew the Terrible? What if he's the second because he's actually the kid, he's like the offspring of the first one? What if that egg that the rogue took could be used to spawn Bartholomew the Terrible III? It's just an idea. Look at all the particle effects that come off of his breath weapon. Just absolutely levels the city. I'm so hyped. This is gonna be great. I can't wait for this mod to come out. And then we have our little ice dragon. Look at all these ice blocks. For some reason, it seems like this part is really low res, but looks like there's ice bricks and some other ice textures, I don't know. And then of course the rogue never learns, so he wakes up the dragon. Okay, so onto some stuff that I learned from the Discord. It seems that they're done with the fire dragons. They're done making them. They're about halfway through making the ice dragon stuff, and they just started on the lightning dragon stuff. They don't plan on making more than those 3 types of dragons. They said that the dragons are going to be a lot more rare. They're going to be harder to find. Makes sense. And they said that they've dealt with the tunneling issue, so you probably won't have your base destroyed randomly by a dragon that has been underground that you didn't even know about. Now let's go through some of these images that I found on Discord. Looks like one of the tapestries is of a unicorn. I think that kind of confirms that a unicorn is going to be in the game. It was already a planned feature. Some people have also pointed out that it kind of looks like golden apples are growing on trees. I don't know if that's anything, but it could be. Here is some of the concept art that they had. I'm not going to say anything about this, but if you see something interesting, you can feel free to speculate. Here's the hitboxes. Looks like it doesn't quite cover all of the wings, but it's pretty good with the tail. Look at this new interface. Looks like stay, wonder, and follow, but on top of wonder it says something in like enchanting table, or maybe that's Greek or something, I don't know. But this looks very interesting. And then we have this as an interface. This also looks pretty cool. It looks like you can actually see the dragon's health now. I think this bar is probably the breath weapon that you can shoot. And then I don't know what these weird items are. I mean, you've got the dragon bone bow, the dragon horn, and dragon scales. I do not know what these 2 other things are. That's interesting. Here we have a picture of what I believe to be the Dread Queen. This was a upcoming boss in the first one. It was a planned feature. We never got it, but kind of like the big boss of the game. So they're definitely hinting that she's coming back, that we're going to get the Dreadlands and her like evil domain of undead. We don't get to see all the tapestries, but we can see how many there are. There are quite a few. And then lastly, here are some textures that are in the game. I think that's pretty cool. It gives us some info. You can see that there are 3 different types of dragon horns. You can also see that there's a dagger variant, so not just a sword, but we also have a dagger. And I think that's pretty cool. Thank you for watching. Leave a like. So comment if you have any questions, any speculation. I think it's really fun to speculate. We're in that stage of hype, but not that much information. I think they're going to release more trailers. Let me know if you want me to break those down as well. And yeah, I can't wait to make a mod pack with this. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. Remember the link to the original trailers in the description. And I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.